Hello everyone, I am back. It's Stan from Tidal Gardens, and I'm going to be covering some corals now that have a little bit of a sentimental value for me. It's these Elegance corals, and they were the reason I got into reef keeping way back in the early 90s. I saw them for the first time at a pet store near where I was going to college and fell in love with the hobby right there. Now, it hasn't always been the smoothest of roads with this coral in me. For about 10 years, the ones from Indonesia were very delicate and were quick to come down with some mysterious infection. Luckily, the latest batch from Australia are very robust and healthy. What always appealed to me about this coral is that in many ways it resembles an anemone. It's fleshy, it has long tentacles that sway in the current, and it's got great colors and patterns. Now, if you've ever kept anemones, they have a funny way of finding overflow boxes or a power head and getting stuck or worse. Some just enjoy trampling corals in their path. Unlike an anemone though, an Elegance is a stony coral, which has the distinct advantage of staying where you place it. They can sting nearby corals, but it's not going to run from one side of the tank to the other like, say, a bubble tip anemone. You can see there the cone-shaped stony base. Elegances, when they get really large, produce buds at their base that can be broken off later. The other similarity with anemones is that larger elegances can act as a host for clownfish. Now, the jury is out on whether this is a good thing or not, because clownfish tend to aggravate corals both with their body contact, but also with the fact that they like to bite off the tips of the tentacles. Now, going the other way, Elegance corals have a pretty potent sting that may be more than what most clownfish are used to. Although the jury is out on clownfish, there is no such ambiguity on snails. They are on the menu, and you're going to find quickly just how good Elegances are at catching and killing them. If you've watched any of our past videos, you can probably figure out that I like to try to find rare specimens. Elegances are no exception. Their bodies vary in color from blue to green to purple, and they can have some very interesting striping, but it's their tips that really set the coral apart. Most Elegances have pink or purple tips, but this one in particular has a very uncommon yellow color. I've seen thousands of Elegances, and in that crowd, I've only seen a handful that have these tips. Lastly, I want to end the video with some footage of this coral feeding. They can be fed a wide variety of fleshy seafood items such as mysis shrimp or krill. Now, this shot has been sped up 4 times its regular speed, and you can see that they do grab food and consume it, but they're not quite as aggressive an eater as some other corals, and that leads to a weird situation where they just kind of hold the food out there and then fish come and pick it off. Having said that, these corals seem to really benefit from regular feeding despite the harassment from fish. You can see here that the food eventually makes its way to one of the mouths at the center of the coral. As the coral grows, the mouths split. I've seen some larger ones with dozens of mouths. Now, you don't often see huge Elegances, but in public aquariums they can get over 4 feet in length. They're absolutely spectacular specimens. Okay, that does it for Elegance corals. Thanks so much for watching again. I'm curious, what was your first coral, and do you still have it? Let me know in the comments below.